Hello there guys, what is going on? SonOfChelsea back here again for my rational perspective on Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. Another comfortable win for Graham Potter at Stamford Bridge. 3 wins in 7 days. Some lovely football today, some wonderful moments of trickery and finishing, and the mood around Stamford Bridge has radically changed. It really has. And listen, Chelsea will face sterner tests than what Wolves, a team who have only scored 3 goals and quite clearly are lacking inspiration and direction and a bit of unity, given they're in a bit of limbo at the moment. You know, you could say the same. You can caveat things about AC Milan, their number of injuries, and, you know, Crystal Palace, a team Chelsea have beat a lot recently, despite it was kind of a dramatic late win. We can throw all the caveats in the world, and listen, I know people will do that, and it's not ridiculous to do that. It's not me sitting here and saying Chelsea are now the greatest team in the world. We're going to go on and do amazing things. You know, these are all results, particularly the 2 Premier League ones, games I expect Chelsea to be winning. But we have to contrast with things we've seen before. We have to look at the performances on the pitch. And I think you have to be overwhelmingly encouraged by what we're seeing under Graham Potter in the early weeks. I think the biggest thing for me is the attack. I mean, just the attacking play in general. It is so encouraging. It's inspiring to watch. There's a feeling that Chelsea not only know what they're doing moving forward, but I speak a lot on this channel about margins for error. And unfortunately, under Tuchel, particularly in the Premier League when things weren't going right, our margin for error wasn't very wide in the final third. We were not creating a lot of high-quality opportunities. And when I think expected Chelsea has made this point consistently, when we miss those chances, they feel greater because we don't get a lot of them. I feel already with Graham Potter, as you saw in that first half, Chelsea deservedly won that game 3-0. I think that, sure, there were some chances that may look like sort of half chances, weren't exactly, I guess, in sort of the XG model, if you're really sort of analytical and precise about that, like a 0.5 or above, which is obviously a 50% chance of scoring. But, you know, it's, for me, I'm seeing a lot more where I feel like Chelsea are giving themselves enough space and room to miss chances, and you feel like there is an energy about Chelsea where they're going to create more, whether it be the more direct play we've seen, whether it be the sense that we are getting more bodies consistently in the box, so when a ball drops there's more chance a blue shirt is going to be on the end of it. And all of that, I think, rounds out with individual performances that we'll get to, and just a feeling of positivity. You have to feel encouraged. I do, at least. I'm seeing an improvement. I'm seeing things I want to see, and I'm seeing some players step up to perform that haven't previously, and that's really positive. There was obviously a lot of shock about the lineup. I mean, I was a bit stunned, but I mean, someone who I follow who's sort of a Brighton fan, who obviously knows Potter very well, was sort of joking about it. That you Chelsea fans need to get used to Graham Potter, and it's not a massive surprise. We know he's a flexible coach. We know he likes to change things. 7 changes. I have to say and be honest, when I see that team, it looks like one that's kind of being prepared for the AC Milan game and resting Raheem Sterling, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Reece James, Mateo Kovacic didn't start the game. Thiago Silva was given a full rest today, which, you know, obviously in hindsight is a really nice, you know, decision from Potter to give that player that rest that he absolutely needed after playing, I think, the majority of minutes so far this season. But it was a team that you were kind of a little bit fearful against the wounded Wolves side. You know, is that going to drop our level a bit? But then you had to wait to see what the team looked like. I think, you know, Potter, particularly with the way players are positioned on the pitch, I was just intrigued to see how it was going to line up. And I think just going through a few performers today, I think Cesar Azpilicueta, he's not my man of the match. You know, I'm critical of Dave, and just in the sense that I think that his time as kind of a key Chelsea player is beyond him. But the application, the quality at times with some of his crossing in that first half right below me, and just the sense he really went out there and you know, just that ruggedness and determination that just, they sound like very simplistic words, but I do think at times if some players within this Chelsea squad who have struggled could take half of what Dave has done throughout his Chelsea career, of just that sense of humility, that never-ending sort of spirit. These are, as I say, these are kind of could be accused of being lazy words, not really analytical and sort of really going in depth of what Dave was doing today in terms of his positioning. To me, it looked like at times he was playing as a right back, at times he was playing as a wing back. I'd say he was more playing as a wing back, really advanced up the pitch, and it seemed to very much fit his profile and the style of what Potter was going for. So many times down the right, he was able to link well with the likes of Mason Mount, Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Conor Gallagher, and putting some really good crosses throughout that first half. You know, the likes that Reece would have, I think, been proud of at times. And, you know, Dave deserves credit. He really does, you know, at his age. And you know, I'm always happy to be proven wrong if a player plays well for Chelsea and we win. And it just kind of shows the legend of Dave. It really does. But yeah, it was a first half that encouraged me, and I just felt there was such a sense of aggression about the team. It looked to me, as I say, in different phases of play, the formation and the setup of players looked different. It looked to me like Havertz was absolutely playing as the 9, and then you had Pulisic on the left, Mount as kind of the 10, and Gallagher as kind of free behind Havertz usually. So you could kind of say it looks like more like a 4-2-3-1, but Ruben seemed to always be more advanced than Jorginho, and that just gave Chelsea a real platform. And it felt to me at times that Chelsea were inviting Wolves on, giving them a bit of the ball, which in these type of games you're not used to. Eventually, as the game went on and Chelsea gained more control, it kind of went into a pattern that many people would have expected, of attracted Wolves into Chelsea's press, and the ferocious nature to the way Conor Gallagher, who I thought had a really good first half, sort of dipped slightly in the second half, was really chasing every ball, and particularly down the right with Azpilicueta. The amount of times Chelsea won the ball back in key positions to keep momentum and to keep that pressure and to pen Wolves back was really important. And Graham Potter I think he is taking more risks. At times, Jorginho will be left a bit more exposed. There were a few times where he was run past. There was a few times where he had to, you know, get a yellow in the second half, and I am a little bit concerned by that, particularly against better opposition. But I think it's the risk-reward sort of dynamic that pays off for Potter in a big way today, but I think makes sense in a game where Chelsea have to be proactive and have to get more bodies forward. And I think we absolutely deserved our goal in the end. It was a brilliant ball from Mason Mount. I don't know what Jose Sa is doing. The Havertz header loops right at the end into the goal, but I think his positioning was really bizarre to just kind of he just seemed to get his surroundings all wrong. Massive moment in the game because Wolves, maybe despite their lack of attacking intent and just you could see the lack of confidence on the ball, you felt that if it went in 0-0, that obviously it could have gone a different way. But Chelsea just grew in confidence after the break. Mason Mount, I think, is man of the match. I really do. I don't think Mace was just wonderful today. He really was. He was creating chances. He was being a nuisance. He kind of is playing a balanced role for me with Potter, where you can kind of see a bit of what he was doing under Tuchel, where he kind of is more advanced and picking up pockets of space and linking with the striker. At times he is kind of playing a little bit more retracted of a number 8 role that maybe we saw a bit under Frank Lampard, and maybe Mount wants to play there in his career. But the chances he was creating, the influence he was having, and the ball he carved up for Kai Havertz to header, and in the link with Christian Pulisic, I mentioned Christian Pulisic. That, hopefully for Pulisic, is a massive moment in his Chelsea career. I really do. There's been so much noise around him, and the unfortunate thing is I feel that it's affected Jorginho. It affects other players. It hurts the player themselves in the end. There's been a lot of noise, that has been a lot of nonsense, and has created not the nicest environment on Twitter. But I think for Pulisic's own sake, as you know, if you have been a long-term subscriber to this channel, I've always spoken about his ability in front of goal. And that was a cool, calm finish, because in the first half, he had several chances to score, particularly one where I think Sarr was out of the goal, and just a more confident player there, a more confident Pulisic maybe takes that first time, and he should have. And you were kind of a little bit worried that he gets this chance and he doesn't really take it, an unexpected chance, but he gets the second goal, which is really the killer goal in the game. And him and Mount just linked up so well there. They really did. Nice interchange of passes, and didn't rush things. I think there could have been maybe a pass to Kai Havertz across the box, but he just chips Jose Sa. We get to see that celebration, which, you know, it is what it is. I don't think it's the greatest celebration, but for Pulisic's sake, it's a massive step forward for him at Chelsea. It really is. Or at least just to kick-start his season, because he has been on the fringes, and it's wonderful to see that positivity about Pulisic, that we can speak about stuff that's actually going on the pitch and not a lot of noise and nonsense around social media. before I get to my gimmick that I'm sure many people will think about in terms of what my interest was in this game, let's talk about Armando Broja. What a finish. What a finish. Lovely for him, because we saw Carney Chukwuemeka come off the bench as well. That was nice for Potter to do, to get him his first Chelsea appearance at Stamford Bridge. But for Mando, it's kind of been so far, he's been showing, I think, a lot of good things, and it's just about, for a striker particularly, getting that first goal off the mark. What a finish. And it was kind of the type of movement he was doing at Southampton that maybe we didn't expect he'd get that space at Chelsea. All right, context of the game, we're 2-0 up, 88th, 89th minute. Wolves are a little bit shattered and downbeat by that point. But I think it was Kovacic who played the ball through. I think that was a really nice pass, timed his run immaculately. And just the way he got it onto his right foot, and it, from my seat, the moment he hits it, you know it's going in. You know it's bending into that far corner, hits the post, goes in. And just for Armando Broja, I think symbolically on the day of who else was at that game, and particularly for him as a Chelsea striker, hopefully that's lift off for him, just a massive boost. And it's the same for Conor Gallagher. We said this a week ago. These guys who are coming back into the team after loan need these moments to really feel like they're part of Chelsea, and they can do it at this level with this extra scrutiny and expectation. And it creates a nice dilemma, doesn't it? Because you've seen Kai Havertz score, you've seen Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang score, you've now seen Armando Broja score. We've had 8 goals in the space of 3 games, and we've seen a few attackers start to grow in confidence. Mason Mount suddenly is influencing things again. Reece James, who didn't start today, came on later. It is obviously wonderful at the moment. The attack that at times has looked a little bit, I think some people have kind of given up on it. There are ways to solve it, and there are ways with the current group of players to see an improvement. I don't know how long that's going to last for. We have to wait and see. It may just be the boost of an early coach, of the early weeks of a new coach, but we will see, and we have to be positive of that. So yeah, you can tune off now if you're not interested in this part, but obviously Diego Costa returned to Stamford Bridge today, and it was the perfect day, I think, personally, the way I would have dreamed it would have happened for Diego. He gets a wonderful ovation at the start, with Wolves fans singing his name and then Stamford Bridge singing his name, but we didn't want him scoring, and I knew that he'd probably only get an hour because of obviously his fitness levels. And the great thing was Chelsea were 2-0 up at that point. The game was comfortable. Chelsea felt confident, and then the way he comes off and does, probably on purpose, does this lap of honour round the Matthew Harding, the whole stadium standing up to applaud him and universally chanting Diego. I spoke about Diego. This shouldn't just be a Diego video, but I think it was really nice. It's nice that I think that it's a shared thing with Diego of what he gave to this club in a short space of time, and it's nice, given the way it ended messily with blame absolutely on the player's part, to see that he gets maybe that farewell. We don't know how long he's going to be at Wolves in the Premier League. He didn't have a lot of joy today. I think Koulibaly really marshalled him well, but just wonderful to see. It really was. And I think, as I say, symbolically you see maybe the new Diego score his first goal for Chelsea, and I think the player absolutely deserved that reception. As people know, I'm a massive fan of him. Hopefully he has a good season and takes points off our rivals moving forward. Listen, moving forward, I think we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. Milan at the San Siro with some of their players returning from injury, it's going to be a challenge. But the good thing is, I'm just seeing things at the moment that make, at the very simplest level, Chelsea more entertaining to watch. I enjoy watching Chelsea again. I feel that we are going to create good chances. I feel like the players are at least enjoying things at the moment. Early stages, we know that can dwindle over time. But Potter, for him, this week has been huge. You beat Crystal Palace late on with a wonder strike. That just sets you on your way to start turning the mood around the bridge. You get a really, really big result in the Champions League that was needed against a big European club to prove that you can compete at that level. No matter the caveats of the opposition at that time, what they look like, it's still AC Milan. It's still 3-0, and it still was a confident and enjoyable night at Stamford Bridge. And then you come to a game at Stamford Bridge where you rotate the team, with criticism from fans beforehand of why you're taking so many key players out, and you get a similar performance. You get players stepping up, you see good moments, and you see players really rising to the challenge and giving you more options. So all round, for Graham Potter as a coach, this gives him more buy-in. This gives him a settling in period, the feeling where Chelsea are now moving firmly into the Graham Potter era at Stamford Bridge. those are my thoughts on the game. I hope I did cover everything. There's some things, as I usually do on this review after I'm editing it, I've probably missed. Those are all the key moments, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your man of the match, your thoughts on the game. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button because of Mando, because of Pulisic, because of Mason Havertz, and also because of Diego's emotional return. And I'll see you again very soon. All the best.